The following podcast is brought to you by the Johners Podcasting Network, found exclusively at wrestlingwithjohners.com.
Welcome to Work the Left Side. On this episode, I've got Joseph Biggs, awesome dude from Northeast wrestling scene. We just sit down and talk, obviously, about what's to come when normality sets back in. And obviously, he's got a big title shot coming up for Prime Wrestling. What he did beforehand, obviously before the Global Bastard, and we talk his love of dogs. I don't want to say addiction, but his fondness of Monster energy drinks, and he's just a really cool guy. Obviously trained by Rampage Brown. We get into that, and yeah, so enjoy. Leave comments, give it a thumbs up, do the normal and let us know what you think. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel and you just kind of dropped in on this, subscribe, hit the bell, get notifications for future episodes, and yeah, there's a few more things coming up as well. So enjoy. We'll speak to you soon, and spread the love, share the word, invite people you know to like the page, and thank you.
So thank you for joining us on another episode. This week I am joined by the asset, Mr. Joseph Biggs.
Good to be here. Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for joining us, dude. So obviously, I'll credit where it's due straight off. I will name drop Mr. Ryan Palmer, who everybody knows as my co-host on the Spotlight episodes. Put me in contact and sort of said, this is a guy you need to speak to. It's awesome. Big things to come, not putting any pressure on you, by the way, but yeah, this guy's going to be, one to watch in years to come. So I was like, yeah, right, we'll have a bit of that. So reached out, spoke to you. Here we are. We'll start from the start, man. Well, firstly, how you doing? You all right?
I'm great. You kind of caught me on the come down, I guess. I was at the gym like an hour ago. All the caffeine's sort of like starting to wear off right now. So
you've got a kind of Monster, yeah.
And a 12 one of the day.
Anybody who knows this man will have seen a post recently on Facebook where he's carrying 3 crates of just cans of Monster. What was it, like 12 per case?
So 36 cans
36
overall.
cans, yeah.
They had a deal where it was like 12 cans for £8. So I was there the day before that photo was took. I got like two crates then. Went back the next day after training, got 3 more. That was about a week ago, and I've already been back for more since. My car is a mess. just multi-packed everywhere. But right. I wouldn't have it any other way.
I'm on a mission. Anytime I mention you on Twitter or tag you or at you for anything on Twitter, I'm copying in Monster as well. We will get you a sponsorship deal.
My newest pair of gear is like a kind of Monster. So it's like got the white texture, the font, everything. Moose Juice tweeted me back once, but I'm still waiting on Monster. They've kind of blue balled me.
We'll do this, man. We'll get on it. It'll be the new movement. We'll do it for we'll get everybody listening to do it as well. Roxy's got a Greg's sort of parade going on, so we'll get you going on for Monster.
I haven't had a Greg's in years. I've probably neglected it.
Yeah, not to anger previous guests, but I don't generally see the big deal. But yeah, I've got my own. I'm attempting to get McDonald's to sponsor me at some point, so nice. I'll be watching that occasionally. But yeah, right. So wrestling.
Yes.
What inspired you, man? What got you into it? What sort of, set the wheels in motion? What made you think, I'm going to do this?
So I never really saw myself getting into it. I always thought for years that it was just going to kind of be a thing that I watch, kind of drift in and out of as a fan. I first got into it around mid 2006. The first match I really have any recollection of watching was Cena versus RVD versus Edge from Raw, where RVD dropped the title. That's kind of my earliest real memory of it. I got Vengeance 2006 on DVD for that Christmas, so I just kind of like binged the shit out of that for months, I guess. I sort of drifted off wrestling for a little bit shortly after that, and then it's kind of weird how I got back into it. So around summer 2009, I was clearing out some of like old boxes and that, and came across all my figures that I'd sort of accumulated in that time. And just something dumb like that, like kind of looking at them. Oh, wonder what this guy's up to. Like, wonder how it's all been going. And I sort of got back in around SummerSlam 2009. So Orton was champion at the time. Him and Cena were feuding back when it was kind of fresh, I guess.
Yeah. 11 years ago.
And literally, kind of from that point on, it just became like something I stuck with. I watched it obviously for years, but again, never really thought much of training. Me and my mates would kind of dick about in the local park, all that sort of thing. Like, not backyarding, but I guess play parking, if that's kind of like the side term. That was good for the time, I guess. But early 2013, one of my mates who we do this with discovered a local wrestling school, kind of about 10-minute drive from my house. Rad Pro Wrestling. It's not around anymore, but that was kind of like one of the few companies in the Northeast at the time. There was only about three companies back then, which seems mad looking back now. Went along to a session there. I only went originally to kind of accompany him because back then I was still in school and didn't really have the confidence to do something like that by myself. Wanted to quit after the first session because it was a lot harder than I anticipated. I went in thinking everything's fake, nothing's going to even touch. And that 10 minutes in, like, yeah, I'll never forget that first round of clotheslines.
And chops. First time you got a chop?
Oh, we got chops. Me especially, because I showed up I rocked up in a John Cena shirt, doing all these impressions, and I had no clue. I quickly got a clue. I've still got that shirt as well. It was the green one.
Oh, yeah.
2012.
Wow.
Nation.
So it says, I was going to say, man, it says on your thing that you were trained by Nathan Cruz and Rampage. Obviously, was that a bit later on, or they weren't part of Rad, were they?
Oh, no. This was like a long way off, yes. Rad Pro was kind of like from about 2013 to 2016. 2016 to 2018 was Rampage over at NGW. Nathan Cruz, that was more of just a seminar we did. Because Absolute Wrestling had him in. They had loads of great seminars back when they were running. Nathan Cruz did a few, and so I jumped on them. Is that on Cage Match? It says that. I think Cage Match has like the information on, but it's not totally accurate. It's got my age wrong. But no, Rampage, I trained with him for about 2 years. Kind of took a bit time out training. They were the unmotivated years, which we'll probably touch on in a little bit, I guess. And then from the very end of 2019, start of last year, it's been all battle ready, like going strong to this day.
That's cool. Yeah, it was on Cage Match, but it says trained Rampage and Cruz. So I never know how reliable those kind of sites are, but limited to where to get the information from. So that's why I always like to check, just to sort of say like. But so you You say the cruise ones was through NGW?
That was Absolute, but they were kind of, I guess, in cahoots with NGW. They worked pretty closely together. They've been inactive for a few years now, which is a shame because they were doing some really great stuff. The storyline I was in there was just starting to kind of hit its stride as well. We were kind of like an invading force, made a few of the other NGW guys. Through all of 2017, we kind of rock up in like masks and that sort of thing. Kind of like a less shit Retribution.
But it's an awesome concept if it's done right.
Exactly.
And yeah, man, if you guys were doing it right, spot on. But NGW is sort of one of those. Like, yeah, I can imagine you actually we just sort of sat in the audience at any sort of given point as well, or just come from the back.
We kind of do that and then disappear to kind of appear in photos, so it looked like we were there. And then, so when we rocked up later in the masks, it was like, oh, well, it can't be those guys because, they're in this photo. It sort of worked until people could kind of like, they could see the eyebrows through the mask. And my eyebrows are kind of like very distinctive, should we say?
It's the guy with the eyebrows.
The king of the brow.
Because I'm based in Leeds, so NGW is not 100 miles away from here, kind of thing. So I've been to various NGW shows, and they've always seemed like one of the better promotions. They seem really professional. I know Matt Myers is a guy who's like heavily involved in them, and like say Nathan Cruz. They always seem to run really solid shows. I can imagine the training being the same. Taking a lot of pride in just.
Well, they're the whole City Hall shows kind of in your area, because they're kind of the main ones they do. They run Beverly as well, Beverly Memorial Hall. They're kind of like the proving ground ones, I think. I did a few of those back in the day. They were some of like the first kind of bigger shows I was on.
So did you have, when you was getting into the UK scene, did you have any guys that you sort of look up to, or is there anyone that sort of, when you go to like the indie shows a lot before you really delved into the training, or did you just go straight into like the training and then just became a fan of obviously you mentioned that you was a WWE fan, the American side of things, but were you aware of like how big the British scene was before you kind of got involved in it?
Oh, I didn't have a clue. I had no idea kind of the British scene even really, I guess, existed, to be honest. So I found out so quick about this training school, it's like I didn't even know there was really shows attached, or if it was just kind of a thing that we did and trained, and wasn't even really a way to showcase that.
Like CrossFit kind of thing, but wrestling.
You what?
Like CrossFit, but just wrestling training, like a workout kind of thing.
Oh yeah. The second week of my training was a show day. I originally only kind of went to that because I knew like, oh, I'm not gonna get chopped this time. I get to put the ring up and watch the show for free. I think if it had actually been training, I'd probably like bottled it. So it's good that it worked out the way it did. But that was kind of the motivation, I guess, just to kind of stick at it and get to even just that level. Trying to think who was on it. Viper from NXT UK, Piper Niven, she was on. Even like Northeast guys at the time, like Dave Carbon, he was the champ at the time. I'm trying to think who else, because I know that I know more.
Is that on the wall behind you?
No, not that one. I only started collecting posters when I started doing the shows. Let me just see what any good ones I can point out. I was saying before we started recording, I deliberately put the good ones where we can see them and kind of leave off some of the other ones to the side that we don't talk about. But
the forbidden shows.
I've got one Rad Pro one behind me, but it's terrible. It's probably one I made. You can tell which ones I designed because I'm at the front and center of all of them.
Nice. Yeah, if you're designing, do you like do the graphics design? I didn't know that about you, man. So you actually sort of chilling out and doing some of the graphics and stuff as well for the shows?
A long time ago. At the time, they were good. Some of them some of them were awful. Even then, they were awful. But you know, I sent them off as a draft to the promoter. Like, this isn't the finished version. I can do more. But what do you think so far? Oh, it's mint, mate. It's like, no, it's all right. I mean, if you're paying me.
It's always nice to hear good things in it. They say it's good, you take it. It is what it is. You mentioned then about obviously like the scene now up northeast it's strong, man. Because at one point, like you said, it was a bit. I've spoken to a couple of people from sort of your neck of the woods, and it not hit rock bottom, but it was a low point. That's within British wrestling at times, like the scene in the northeast. But now it's back with a vengeance. You guys are like sort of absolutely smashing it. You've got like 2 or 3 really good promotions, probably more coming through as well that we don't know about yet. And yeah, some of the talent you guys have got up there, like it's next level stuff.
It's that reputation of kind of not being a good area that we're kind of trying to shake now, I guess. We've been trying to shake it for a long time, but I think now is kind of the closest we've really come to that. It's difficult to really comment on, I guess, because shows haven't ran for so long.
Yeah.
But I think we're really going to see that soon with the likes of Prime starting up. You've got companies like MEW, North. Absolute would have been ideal now if that was still running. You got Shield Pro, FTW. There's more that I've missed, but Upbrawl. Got my UCW Championship chilling up there somewhere. Held that about 500-ish days now, but even if shows were still on, I'd probably still be champion because I'm just mint.
So you've held a few belts already, haven't you? I was looking through it again, using cage matches, my source of information. It does list you as having like being a multiple title holder already.
There's a few Rad Pro titles in there.
There's Target as well.
Target High Octane Champion. That was summer of 2018. That was a fun one. I thought I dislocated my shoulder in the match where I lost that title. I caught a dive and just lost all feeling in I think it was my right arm. And it was almost like karma because I had injured someone that exact same way about a year prior to that. So I'm trying to like kind of stomp this guy in the corner and like shake some feeling back in my arm, but that's the only reason I lost the title. My arm was 100%. I'd still have that right now.
Keeping it kayfabe, like it.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, you mentioned Prime. Obviously, they're the ones that are promoting really heavy at the minute. Obviously, when the shows come back and normality sets back in after the global bastard, and we get back to going out and enjoying ourselves. Prime are pushing their first show back quite heavy and looking at the talent in there. And obviously, you're involved based on the promotion in a triple threat. It's like 6 challengers, 2 triple threat matches, I believe, for the title. And you've got HT Drake, Liam Slater.
Oh, yeah. I'm hyped. From a production standpoint, I don't think anyone's doing it better than Prime right now.
Yeah.
I just completely lost my train of thought there. No, I think Prime's kind of the big one now to watch. That seems to be where everyone's kind of like aiming to get to and aiming to reach. Like, I'm over the moon that I've kind of been selected for that. But especially kind of after sort of being unmotivated with wrestling for a few years, as I sort of touched on earlier. I wasn't really like training anywhere. I wasn't kind of putting in the work at the gym I am now. I feel like it's sort of, I guess, the payoff in some way to all that. I don't think I'd have gotten that if I hadn't like pulled my finger out. But no, I know a lot of guys that are sort of aiming for that level right now.
Yeah.
But to be in that sort of match as well, like I know that I'm probably like the least established of the three, but I like a challenge.
Well, that's it, because you go into that match and like sort of thinking the pressure's off you a little bit. Can you just go out there and shine and do what you do? Because obviously, as you sort of say, HT Drake's pretty much the hometown boy. Obviously, Liam Slater's coming up from this end, but he's a name. People know him.
Yeah.
and then there's you. You're just gonna, you're gonna come out. So people know who you are, but does it take a bit of pressure off you with it being a triple threat? Are they better to work for that in that sense, or do you just prefer, would it have been more to your liking as a one-on-one?
I think it puts more pressure on as a triple threat. It's kind of an awkward match to get around sometimes. I've had some great ones over the years, and I've had some awful ones, depending on the setting. Kind of just sometimes the vibe's just off. That just happens sometimes, and you can't really explain it, and it can't be helped. There's two triple threats that come to mind straight away that I did a few years ago. Same match essentially. Me, Nicky Starr, Classic Jack. We worked a Zenith show. No, we worked a Northside Frontier show. Again, two more companies I missed off earlier. The Northside show didn't really sort of click that well. A lot of the stuff we planned didn't really kind of work out, I guess. We had another match again at Zenith about a month later, and it was one of the best matches I had that year. And nothing was really too different. It's just the vibe.
Just the energy on the night kind of thing.
I can't really describe it. I probably sound like a bit of a madman, but I know what I mean. I know what I'm trying to get at.
I think in any situation, you could go out, just, anybody who's at work, you can go to work, you can have a shitty day and things just aren't clicking for you. You do this day in, day out. Yeah, you mood set. You just to let this thing can throw you for a loop. You're distracted, anything like that. And then the next day, same situation, you go in there and you absolutely boss it. So yeah, it's totally understandable. Obviously, it must just be a pain in the arse when it's you guys in the ring, because you're there, in front of other people, and you just want to perform. You want to, steal the show. And if it's not clicking, there's nothing you can do about it. I suppose you just have to grin and bear it, and then try again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I feel like that's the worst thing that could happen when it comes back. Like, that first match back after so long, if it doesn't click, then it almost feels, I guess, like this time's been wasted. I'm really lucky in the sense that the last match I had before the Global Bastard clicked perfectly. One of my favourite matches I've had was me and Oliver Barrett, Asset Club, versus Anarchy Inc. again at Northside. Nothing too crazy, just the crowd were shit hot. Came alive for everything. Everything just about clicked. And I'm so glad that it did, because the match I had before that was horrendous. And if that had been the one that we kind of closed on,
yeah, you'd have been dwelling on it.
I'd have probably just called it there and not wanted to come back.
Dude. But another thing as well, though, with the first match back, the crowd are going to be absolutely chaotic, man. That's got to, as soon as you step out there, I can imagine it just being turned up to 11. It's just going to be huge. The audience are going to get behind everything everybody does.
Got to after this long.
Exactly. And I obviously not speak from experience, but I've got to imagine, man, that just gives everybody in the locker room, everybody walking out to the ring, you're just like walking on clouds kind of thing, just to get that energy.
Oh, absolutely. It's when you're on second or kind of later in the card, that's the best thing you can hear when the show starts. Either that or we need more chairs.
Yeah.
That's
that. Ooh. So you mentioned before about kind of losing your path a little bit, and obviously I was talking to Ryan prior to this kind of thing, just trying to get a bit more information. Obviously told him yesterday your kind words for him, being overly jacked.
Jacked ref on the scene.
I just dropped him a message. I was like, quote of the day: Palmer's the most jacked referee, and he was like, "Who the fuck said that?"
Oh
yeah.
So I'm not gonna grasp, but I'm not the only one who says that. So it's a known thing.
But he came back in kind, man. He was just praising you to the moon. He was sort of saying, your determination, your work rate, this last year, your effort in the gym, you're absolutely smashing it at the minute. So obviously it goes to show, your mind's in it again. Your mind, you're focused, ready for when, July time, August time, when you start getting the shows coming back in?
Oh yeah, it wasn't always like this. We can kind of touch on the unmotivated bit for a while, because it's kind of funny to look back on now, I guess. I just started working my first job, summer of 2018. I'd always managed to make time for the gym and training and that through college and uni, but I didn't really anticipate sort of working a full-time job and then training on top of that. I would gym every single day, and that went to about maybe twice a week in that first week of kind of working. The gym I was at the time, well, sometimes still now, is about a 10-minute walk from my house. So when I got my first car, I would literally drive down to the gym instead of walk. Just little things like that.
Yeah.
Drinking full sugar energy drinks every day, not like the quality zero sugar, fresh L-carnitine. Yeah, cheap plug. Not like the zero sugar ones that I live on today, but it was a combination of all these things and just kind of putting on unnecessary bad weight, I guess. I ended up a bit of a chubster for a while. That's where the hashtag out of shape came from. There's all sorts of progress photos from back then, but it got pretty horrendous. I sort of put it down to I'm just bloated. I've been drinking a lot of water. A bit of water doesn't make you that fat. I was looking for any excuse. I was wearing shirts in matches, something I've kind of ragged on enough times at this point. But no, I wasn't training anywhere because of work. I wasn't gymming as well as I could have been. I was drinking every single weekend, which I can't even imagine now because I get really bad hangovers.
You're too young to get hangovers. What the hell?
I'm 24. I've drank twice in the past 3 months. I was out the other week. I had 3 drinks, and that just crippled me. It's not even fun anymore. I can't do it like I used to. But that's almost a good thing, I guess.
Yeah. If it takes the appeal away from it, you're not going to do it. It's not going to be a temptation. You can put that time into other stuff. But I totally get the whole, if you go from the college life to a full-time job, that's going to mess with your, just with your everyday flow kind of thing. So totally understandable, that you kind of lost your way, going to the gym and stuff like that. But yeah, man, at least you got it back. That in itself is impressive. At least you managed to look at yourself and be like, right, okay, crack on. And, you get back to where you were before. And as Palmer says, you've been smashing it these last sort of 12 months.
As soon as I started seeing the photos, from the side on, where I wasn't, expecting it, that was kind of the turning point. From then, I started tracking calories, doing, a lot more cardio, just cutting out a lot of the things in my diet that I thought were good, but actually weren't, like orange juice, just anything with sugars. Really, I'm practically allergic to sugar now. It's the devil. But no, that was the turning point, and it's all just kind of been onwards and upwards since then. Still got a long way to go. Still not happy with where I'm at now, but compared to a year ago, it's getting there.
The secret is never be happy, because
exactly.
once you're happy, you stop.
That's the problem.
Never be happy with where you are. Have a little moment of joy, but always kind of never settle. But I just thought it'd be nice for you to hear as well, because it's always nice to hear positive, feedback. And dude, absolutely smashing it. So keep doing what you're doing. Obviously, besides Prime, when normality comes back in, are you looking to venture outside of, where do you want to go? Do you want to venture up north and go ICW? You're coming down south and working across Liverpool way, like TNT, Wrestle Island? You got any promotions in mind that you're sort of focusing on and thinking, right, 12 months, I want to be there kind of thing?
It's vague, but I'd like to ideally wrestle everywhere.
Yeah.
I got a car at the worst possible time. I got a car as I was falling out of wrestling. So all of a sudden I had this means of getting to any show I needed to be at if the kind of situation arose. And all of a sudden I didn't want it. I didn't want to travel. I just wanted to stay in this bubble. But there was a road trip I went on in 2019 up to Respect in Scotland, kind of 4 hours there and 4 hours back. I thought I was going to hate it. I didn't really at the time want to do it. And just down to the fact that we had a sick road trip, that ended up being one of my favourite shows I worked that year. That's half the fun though, like, I guess the journey.
Yeah.
Driving 4 hours for kind of a 6 minutes match. That's what I remember from the day, like the road trips. More of that.
That's it. If you're in the car with good people, you're talking stories, you're telling stories. So you get a chance to, if you're in the car as well with somebody, you know, like a veteran.
Oh yeah.
That's it. You can pick the brains. You can do this. Like you always hear, you know, the amount of things that happen on road trips and things like that. So it's got to be a huge part of the whole experience, man. The whole part of what you do. It's something to look forward to.
I kind of got a chance to do something like that last year, not so much with wrestling, but me and a few of the Battle Ready guys, we had a CrossFit comp down Rotherham back in September. It's where that, I guess, famous photo of me with my cap and all that, the profile picture that I've milked to death at this point. That was where I look good. It's my best angle. But no, it was kind of the road trip down for that. Me and Mickey Long kind of rode together. So that was kind of 2.5 hours of just hearing like stories from the camps, kind of advice, little bits like that. We just cracked on, and that was like the first time we'd really sort of like bonded, I guess. And then we got really drunk the next night. It was mint.
Which you won't do anymore, obviously.
Well, maybe after a comp, we'll see.
Yeah, I was going to say, man, never say never. The summer camps, is that something you're going to sort of you want to do when you're able to do them? Because obviously they kind of sort of say that's a very much I can't think of the word, but like not intuition, but like it's part of becoming a British wrestler is working the holiday camps, like the 6-week tours over the summer kind of thing.
Yeah, I'd love something like that one day.
Yeah.
I feel like it's kind of a whole different style in a way to kind of what I do and what's kind of a lot of the way I've been taught. And I know for a fact I'd kind of go in and probably like fail on the first attempt, I guess. I feel like it's something that you have to sort of relearn almost. You couldn't go to, I don't know, any kind of company up here. You couldn't go to one of these shows and then go to somewhere like, I guess, All Star or First Class and get like the same style, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Well, because the holiday camps, obviously, you kind of go in there. It's all included, in people's holiday package. They aren't paid particularly just to come watch the wrestling. They'll just go and watch it because it's something to do, and it's got to be a lot more theatre. So the kids, that sort of thing. Exactly. You got to, entertain the kids, not panto, but very much like good guy, bad guy, very clear cut, sort of good and bad, so the kids can get involved. So yeah, man, it must be very tricky to get that niche, to learn that kind of, to amp it up a little bit.
That's something I've kind of struggled with over the years in terms of like being louder and expressive. Something I've kind of gotten better at over the years, I feel, but some of those early matches, I was really bad for that sort of thing, just sort of like shying away, move, kind of nothing to kind of fill those gaps. And that's pretty much what it's all about, I imagine.
I would definitely say the holiday camp ones, I would sort of say, it's all going to be like facial expressions in it, or, say it's just amping it up for the kids. But man, hopefully you get to do them, because I can only imagine it's really sort of good bonding experience as well. The amount of talent that works on those shows, you'll come out of it and, you'll have like a little brotherhood of these people that you've been on the road with for 6 weeks. So Palmer also told me to bring up your dogs. So I'm presuming, obviously, you have pet dogs, 1 or 2.
Oh, like this one.
Oh, dude.
The
My
only
eyesight's
tattoo
off.
I've got that actually like means anything. Let me just.
Nice.
Oh yeah, one of my chihuahuas and my pits.
Apologies to the viewers. I've got to look up my eyeball.
Oh,
My eyesight's
pay
shocking.
extra for this. Right next to my octopus, which I got when I was hungover. My skull with a party hat. I've got some weird shit. I got like a jellyfish with a planet on its head recently. That was like the
Nice.
day after studios reopened. My whole chest piece. You asked about dogs. I'm just like flexing on you here.
That's fine, dude.
No, I've got 3 chihuahuas, the best and manliest kind of dog.
It's not
The
what I was
hellhounds.
to hear.
Oh no, like everyone's into Dobermans and Rottweilers and all these big buff dogs, I guess. Chihuahuas are the hardest. Like they've got that crackhead energy that no other dog has.
They're going to have attitude. Surely they've got little person syndrome.
Oh yeah. They've all got kind of 3 different personalities. So you wouldn't think that they were all like related. So you got Sydney. He's kind of the oldest one. I guess I see him as the pack leader because he's the oldest, but I think he's probably like the bitch. He's probably like he's usually chilled out. If I was going to introduce people to my dogs, then he would be the one because he's the only one I actually like trust, I guess. One of my favorite bars in town, the Dog and Parrot, is dog friendly. So one day when it's open again, I want to bring Sydney. I'm actually going to bring my dog to the Dog and Parrot, and probably
You're
get
going to walk
trip.
or just put him in a bag?
I'll just stick him in the car. He loves it. Not really. He hates my driving. So we got Ruby, kind of my little black one. If you follow me on Instagram, Joseph_Biggs, it's all I post aside from photos of cans. I have a really interesting life. Ruby's she probably is the pack leader. She's the smallest one, but she's hardcore. And then you got Ted. We kind of got him like a year later because he was from a different litter. He was born so small that they didn't think he was going to make it. So he's kind of the runt. But we took him in and they kind of accepted him pretty quickly. And I hated Chihuahuas at first. I didn't want them, didn't want to hear about it, was totally against it until we brought them home at Christmas. Then like that day, I kind of quickly, once I met them, accepted them. It's like Marmites. Like I don't think they're for everyone. But if you've got them, you know what I mean.
Yeah. That's cool, man. That's massive fan of dogs, big or small. So yeah, that's just, it's always cool to hear so see everybody seems to have like French pit bulls, or they tend to have like those just bulldogs or things like that basically, or like say Dobermans, big ass dogs. It's not very often I get to hear cool stories about Chihuahuas. So yeah, that's enlightened me to the awesomeness of Chihuahuas.
I've got little nests all over the house. It's like kind of nests under my bed, behind the settee in the other room. Just like you'll hear them snoring. Check behind the settee, and yeah, they could be anywhere.
Nice. So gotta go back to the cage match thing. Obviously, Nathan Cruz, he said that was a seminar. Rampage, though, was that more of a actual? Would you class yourself as being trained by Rampage? Did you attend numerous sessions with him?
Yeah, for about 2 years, I was with NGW back when they were training at the Berkeley Boxing Club. That was where they started out, and they ran there for a few years before eventually moving to where they're running now in Chesley Street. And I say they're running there now. I'm not actually too sure. I could be wrong. I'm not really in the loop with what they're doing at the moment. Because I don't really think they've run since the start of the pandemic.
Yeah.
I could be wrong, but I've been mostly focused on kind of my battle ready stuff the past few years now. I got a lot out of NGW though. Like I'd trained at a basic level until then. So that was kind of really the start of like going from this level to like the next. Rad Pro only kind of got me so far. I'm sorry, I'm a bit distracted. I can literally hear one of the dogs trying to get in the room right now.
Because you're talking about him like that, yeah. Come on.
Should I bring him in?
It's up to you, man. Go for it. Yeah.
Let me just. We got one. We got a live one.
Oh wow.
This is Ruby.
That's cute as. Oh.
It's raining outside here, and she hates the rain, so she's probably gonna probably find a nest somewhere. Do you want to go down? Go on.
Bless her. She's cute.
You wouldn't be saying that if you met
her. But just a pain. Is she the middle one?
Oh, she kicks off. Like the eyes and the teeth, like foaming at the mouth. Like that's her. She's
just
like,
fierce. Absolute fierce. That's awesome. Not Prime. NGW Rampage. Obviously, so man, it's sort of like Rad Pro took you so far, and then you obviously start looking elsewhere. You go, to another school, and then you obviously looking to progress, and they progress you.
Oh yeah, like that was kind of like I started getting booked around the Northeast at that point, but when I started training there, that was when I started getting booked higher in the Northeast. Like I started out with MEW in that time. I had an appearance for North. Absolute got me on. I did a bunch of the NGW Proving Ground shows and got to work Nathan Cruz on one of them in the main event. There were some great matches from that time. I think that was like, aside from now, that was when I was like most passionate about wrestling and when I was like the most invested around like late 2016, most of 2017. That was when I was wrestling like every single weekend. And I credit that to NGW. I don't think I'd have gotten that at the time if I hadn't been doing what I was doing with them.
I say, if you're working with those kind of guys, it's going to give you that buzz, that kind of energy. If you're working, I sort of say, I suppose, they're showing faith in you as well by putting you on the proving ground. I know you're training with them, but it still speaks that they want you on the show as well, kind of thing, and giving you that experience. Obviously, some of the talent that's gone through, pretty much anyone who's anyone in British wrestling has gone through NGW. It's a who's who of talent kind of thing. So, I mean, did you have people coming in and doing seminars? Like, say, you did a one-day thing with Nathan Cruz elsewhere, but in NGW, did you have like Robbie Bell coming in, or Haskins, or any of those kind of guys?
Not to the Northeast, I don't think. I'm trying to remember what kind of seminars. I think there was a Bram one kind of shortly after I kind of stopped there. Naoki Tanizaki came down when he was touring with Martin Kirby a few years ago.
Yeah.
He came along. We did a seminar with him. That was cool. There wasn't too many seminars that I really remember there. It was mostly just kind of like Rampage, which you can't really knock that.
No, there's it's been an ongoing joke with a lot of people that I have on the show. At some point, pretty much on every episode, Rampage comes up. I think it was during the Molly Spartan interview. She sort of said that there was an ongoing joke where he's basically referred to as the Obi-Wan of British wrestling. It's like everybody gets to a certain point, and then as soon as you find out that somebody's been trained by Rampage, they're elevated up here somewhere, and everybody's like, okay, yeah, we'll use this guy because he's been trained by Rampage. That speaks quite highly of the person. So yeah, if you encounter him, that's another thing I'm going to try and get going, is just for everybody to refer to him as Obi-Wan.
I'm just pretending like I know Star Wars right now. I've played Lego Star Wars. I played Lego Star Wars. Like that's how I piece the story together. I'm awful for films.
Yeah, basically the greatest Jedi ever, blah blah blah, is Obi-Wan. He trains, he's the greatest trainer ever, kind of thing. So that was the acknowledgement is that Rampage is awesome, and it'll teach you the ways as it should be taught.
The Jedi.
Yeah, well, in your case, obviously.
Yeah, I know some bits.
One bit, well done. So obviously, film's not your strong point. How do you keep yourself going when you're not in the ring, man? Because obviously it's good to have other things to focus on, especially at the minute. You know, so if you're not, in the ring, you're not doing stuff at the weekend. What else do you do to keep yourself, in a happy place to keep yourself distracted?
CrossFit every day. That's the big one.
Yeah.
That was kind of how I got into CrossFit in a way, because wrestling wasn't happening. I had all this free time. I had all these free weekends. And just with the way Battle Ready works, we've got functional fitness classes every day, which is kind of CrossFit, but we just can't call it that. So I kind of just threw myself into them. We were allowed to train outdoors there last summer, about a month before indoor gyms came back. So because I went that long without any sort of training, I was jumping on like every single one of those sessions that I could. And that's where Battle Ready kind of became my main gym. So I was between there and the gym group. I kind of go to the gym group for a lot of like my basic weight training and all that, but I can't go along and do my own cardio or my own like Olympic lifting and that sort of thing. So CrossFit, I ramble.
Oh no, man, that's yeah. Also, I have no issues with that, man. So I was gonna, because obviously CrossFit kind of came to light a couple of years ago. Beforehand, not many people had, it's been around for years, but nobody had ever really heard of it until a couple of years ago. Then it kind of came, obviously, like Seth Rollins, was like a big advocate for CrossFit, and I remember seeing I've watched numerous documentaries on Netflix about CrossFit as well, like the yearly competitions that they do and stuff like that. How you find it? Do you find it helps? Then is it, obviously it's massively cardio based and it's all very sort of dirty weights, kind of you've kind of to do yeah. Does it help in the ring? I can only presume it's got to help, with the flexibility, with the movement, with the cardio and stuff. You're less likely to gas if you do CrossFit.
Exactly, like it kind of replicates more of a style of cardio that a wrestling match would have. So high intensity, like you're hitting the ropes, bang, 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 slam, you're down, low intensity, kind of like build it back up. It's more cardio for wrestling than just running at a solid pace for 20 minutes. Because you could be running and like kind of holding the same kind of heart rate, not really gassing yourself out, but not really kind of like
pushing yourself.
Yeah. So with CrossFit, like you can blow yourself up, rest, then blow yourself up again, but then this time you're kind of like going into that second gear.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
You're tuning your body up to sudden bursts of energy, kind of thing.
That's it. That's kind of one thing I like about it. I like the fact that it kind of like takes it and makes it more of a competition as well. It kind of gives me more something to like aim for. Because I hate doing cardio by myself. I can't now go and run on a treadmill or just like get on a rower and just row for 20 minutes. Like I need to kind of mix it up. But I can't even go and mix it up myself. If it's a group, that's even better.
Yeah.
I've tried to kind of put together like my own little circuits on my own. But the problem with that is as soon as you start to gas out or as soon as you start to like get a bit tired, there's no one there to kind of hold you accountable and make sure you keep going.
To push you forward.
Yeah. It's too easy to just like take it easy. And then if you get tired, like, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. I'll do something later. And you never do it
later. That's what I picked up from like the documentaries is the good people who do it for the right reasons are very competitive, but in a way to push each other. They're not competitive to be the best. They want to be the best, but they want the person next to them to be better. So it means something beat them kind of thing. So you're constantly pushing each other, and you need a group of people, to do it.
I feel like everyone should give it a go at some point. Everyone in wrestling, just to kind of say, it'll not be for everyone, but I think it's something that people could really benefit from. I'm glad to see kind of more people getting on it now. We've had kind of new guys coming in, giving it a go. That's what I like to say. If someone comes along and beats me, then it gives me kind of more of a reason to get better.
Yeah, that's what I mean. So it's a good competition. So if, like I said, someone comes in, beats your personal best or does this, it gives you a positive push to then go beat them, and then vice versa. And you're both like, I presume obviously you got people that you're really tight with in the ring, and if you're doing certain moves, they think, you're elevating them. They're going to push you to be better because you're pushing them to be better, and everybody's kind of working as in unison.
Oh yeah, it works the same in wrestling and in CrossFit, really. I could complete a WOD, think I've got a really good time, then Primate's just like, oh yeah, I got like 2 minutes off that. It probably like brings me down because I think I've just smashed it, and I don't think I've beaten him at a single WOD yet, but that's kind of what I'm aiming for.
That's the goal, man. That one day when you do it, you'll be doing a little happy dance, and it'll be like,
I'll never have to do it again.
That's it. Retire. That's it. We're done. We're out. You mentioned Primate there, because obviously he was a guy. He's another, obviously, a big name from your sort of, neck of the woods. He was a guy that retired a few years ago, but then has come back. Have you worked with him closely? Do you are you CrossFit buddies then, I presume?
Oh yeah. I've worked him a bunch of times over the years. First one back in 2016, I think. There was a few that year when I didn't really know too much about him at the time. He was still kind of like breaking out. This was before like the WCPW days.
Yeah.
And then kind of going into the WCPW days, I worked him as he was like working his way up. Then the retirement happened. I didn't really kind of see much of a match shows for a while because he was out. Then when he came back, I was out for a bit, kind of not getting booked at these places. And then when Battle Ready started, that was kind of when I really kind of got closer, I guess. Yeah. Again.
It seems like a very cool guy. I'm happy to I was gutted because I'd seen him in obviously one of the bigger promotions down where I am is Tidal. He's worked Tidal numerous times, like before the retirement and stuff, and he was always a really solid worker. Always kind of popped when I saw him. He was going to be on the show. And then the retirement came, and I was like gutted. But then obviously really happy that he's back. He was able to come back and do what he was wanted to do. And he's got to be one of those names that's earmarked for, I would say, NXT UK at some point down the line.
Oh, he's there.
Yeah. Oh.
Oh yeah,
that's how much UK I am actually. Actually, I've not watched it for ages, to be fair, though. But I just awesome. So there we go. So he's there. I do need to check out because obviously Rampage is there now as well. So yeah, NXT UK, is that the goal, or are you looking sort of? Do you want to go to Japan one day? Do you want to tour Europe?
Again, it's vague. I'm kind of just thinking about getting out the Northeast right now, sort of one step at a time. It's weird. Like, I would like that sort of thing. I'd like to be in NXT UK, but it's not something that I feel I'm actively at this moment in time going out of my way to kind of get to. Right now, I just want to get to a point where I'm happy with wrestling again, and I guess when shows start up, we'll kind of like see where that's at. I've got a long way to go before kind of really thinking anything like that, but that's kind of what I like. I wouldn't want to know where I'm going to be in a year or 5 years from now, because then it's not that interesting, or it wouldn't be as fun.
Yeah, it's not the destination, it's the journey.
Exactly.
That makes sense. But yeah, man, I thought we touched on it before with like Prime and stuff. I think you're going to be hitting the ground running. I think if people out there hadn't heard of you before, Prime will basically set the alarm bells going, and a lot of people will sort of, know of you afterwards. So yeah, man, hopefully it leads to bigger, not better, but different things, and you get to go on the road. They say you got a car now. You can travel.
The mega bigs, as we call it. I was driving alongside a mega bus once, and I came up with a name. Me and Barrett were out on Wonders a long time ago. He suggested getting a mega bus somewhere. I'm like, why do you need a mega bus? We got the mega bigs. And it's just
stuck.
The mega bigs, the Kyle Mobile. It's
the mega big.
Many names.
Just have to get one of the stickers of one of those happy little drivers and stick it on the side of you. But yeah, man, you might even end up. Just don't get booked in Southampton, man, because that must be like a 10-hour drive.
Hey, I like road trips. Make a day of it.
That's awesome. So obviously CrossFit, key thing. Definitely recommend that based on your say so. Anyone who's listening, go out and try it. Like you said, it's not going to be for everyone, but if you try it and you like it, it's got to be a massive plus. Unless
you're some kind of freak athlete, if you've never done it before, you're going to come in and not do well at your first time. Yeah. It's a whole different beast to like any other sort of cardio I've done. But I've seen guys come along, kind of die on the assault bike, and I thought they're not cut out for this. And they come back and they're smashing it now. We got another comp down Rotherham in about a month. Me and a few of the guys are heading down and doing that, a triplet thing. So I remember their first sessions, kind of watching them die on the box jumps and on the bike and that. And right now they're killing it. It's great to see kind of the progress, but yeah.
I'm going. Well, sorry to go back to the CrossFit thing again. Obviously, it's a wrestling thing, but I think it's all kind of really well connected. One of these like documentaries I watched regarding like the competitions and stuff. You had people like doing 100-meter dashes, but in handstands.
Yeah.
And then like flipping over and then doing something else. It was like a massive, like I say, it was a massive circuit over like a football pitch with like 5 segments along the way. And yeah, one of them was like, yeah, that's the one. And it was just it was mental.
That's not something I can do right now. I can handstand push up just about, but
it was like doing 10 handstand push ups, 100-meter dash or sprint via handstanding, and then going into something else. And yeah, it's just always been something that's interested me, just for the variety. Like I say, it just works everything by the looks of it. And again, I can't to connect it. I just can't see how that can't be a good thing when it comes to wrestling.
Oh, exactly. It's one of the best things, in my opinion.
If you're working a certain style, you've got a certain build, certain physique, and you're working like a certain. Obviously, it's not going to suit like a Dave Mastiff or someone. Well, probably Wood Mastiff because obviously he's quick. Somebody who's just a more of a plodding style. Yeah, I can't see. Obviously, it has some benefits, but it's not key. But yeah, guys like yourself and I likened you to yesterday, like Ridge Ray. Those kind of guys who work that kind of style. I just think it would be like a match made in heaven. That kind of just to get yourself ready for it.
Oh, I'd love someone like that. That's the dream.
But yeah, man, that was my random observation yesterday after doing some research. Is getting a very similar vibe that I got from Ridge Ray 7 years ago.
It's gonna be the tattoos.
It could be the tattoos, man. It could be the. Actually, to be fair, I think one of your promo photos using exactly the same pose as one of his first promo from like 7 years ago that I did some artwork for, and I was just like, oh shit, yeah, that's just like Ridge Ray. But yeah, just the style and everything, man, about you. And it's meant as a compliment, dude. It's just
certainly worse comparisons, like.
Well, again, it's only positivity from here. I'll just give you like lots of nice things. So Palmer says as well though that he's going to be reffing some Prime shows. So
is he?
Yeah, he says he might be back in the black and whites. So Obviously, yeah, be nice to him when you see him.
I'm gonna have to bulk up to kind of like outdo him.
I only ever really see him on like camera. He generally doesn't look that jacked. So I was really surprised when you said that yesterday. I was like, damn. But we've got an ongoing joke where, again, it's a pop reference. If you don't get it, it's probably way ahead of your time. But if anybody's listening and they want to chime in on the comments and refer to him in the future, is Mr. X from the X-Files. That's now Palmer's name as far as I'm concerned. Every time I feature him, I know.
Yeah.
It's just about before my time, dude. So I know it's going to be way ahead of your time. So that's more for the listeners. Anybody comments, if you want to say anything to Ryan, just call him Mr. X. He'll thank me for it.
I don't remember anything before like 2002, 2001. So
you're not into the whole current phase of like, you know, the comic book stuff, you know, things like that. Have anything like that getting your interest, or is it CrossFit and wrestling? That's the focus.
I went to see Avengers a few years ago, Endgame. I mistakenly called it End Games because I don't know what I'm talking about.
That's that question.
My mate told us like, "Oh, if you come and watch this, I'll buy you nachos." Like that was all I needed. I'd heard of like some of them. I knew Batista was in it. That was about it.
Yeah.
Didn't know the storyline. I thought Thanos was a good guy.
Technically, is
literally, I just went along for the craft, but
it's just nachos.
nachos,
The
mayo dip.
I can't fight you for it, dude, to be honest. Somebody offered me nachos, I'd go watch the ballet or something. You know, I'm like, yeah, come watch the ballet. It's something you're not totally interested in, but you get free
That's
nachos.
what these venues need. I would get paid in nachos.
Oh, no, dude, no. That's just gonna end bad.
People will get ideas.
You'll be like 3 shows.
Maybe
lots of nachos.
A lot of nachos.
Dude, we will end on the.
Digging myself deeper here.
No, I think nacho payments is a good. That's not a good thing.
Works for some people.
Yeah, I'm sure there will be some guys out there that would be more than happy to take payment in nachos. But yourself, dude, just got to pay you a monster.
Oh yeah, that's. I can't even argue with that.
Saves you from buying it. Saves you money. Therefore, you're technically getting paid.
I finished this can, so I'm already like craving another one.
Oh, dude. Right. Well, on that note, man, I'm not going to deprive you of the monstery goodness. So mate, I'm going to say thank you so much. So it's been awesome chatting to you, mate. And I will. Well, before I go, obviously, man, plug your socials, get yourself out there. How can people, you know, contact you, follow you, show you some love, basically?
Okay, so Facebook, you can find me at Joseph Biggs _professional wrestler. I've got a personal account, but I'm a bit of a pushover, so I just kind of add anyone there. It's mostly just memes and dog photos, but if you're a wrestling fan, Joseph Biggs professional wrestler. Instagram, that's probably my main one. Just Joseph _Biggs. Again, photos of cans, photos of dogs, photos of workouts, and